Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of Proudland, where it is all of Proud.
And half of me.
That's right. How are you doing, Proud?
I'm doing pretty good. I just didn't finish a programming assignment, but it's okay, because life isn't real.
Yeah, no, life is real.
It's not real. That's
Winter is coming, and so I know people say
Dude,
this
I
all the time.
Fall so much.
You love what?
Fall.
You love fall so much? Fall's my least favorite season.
Oh my god, do you follow me on Twitter, dude?
No. I follow you on Twitter, but I don't have it notify me.
Well, last thing I said, if you did follow, is that I'm a slut for fall, which is so true.
What a shitty season, dude. It's just a season
that
that reminds you that I guess you live in California, so you didn't even fucking have seasons.
No, I lived in Maryland for most of my adult life.
Oh yeah, okay, so you had snow. So you had that type of thing. You know what the white stuff is on the ground.
Yeah, I loved it.
So
it means I don't have to go to school because I was young when I lived in Maryland.
Dude, fall just reminds me of the impending doom of winter. And winter is a bitch where I live.
I don't know.
But winter also has a double meaning for me because winter means baby. Which I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm scared. I'm fucking scared.
Okay.
I'm scared.
Would you say you're scared like a baby?
No, I'm not scared like a baby.
You know expression? That old expression?
Yes, I know that expression.
I'm quaking in my boots like a baby because I'm scared.
I'm scared of the actual birth, of being in the room while like a fucking, we don't need you guys can fill in the blanks there. I'm a little scared of the transitionary period between being able to do whatever the fuck I want and then not being able to do whatever the fuck I want. But beside all the selfish reasons, I'm also scared, and I think a lot of maybe to-be dads could agree that, like, you want to be a good dad. You know what I mean? You want to be a good dad. So I'm definitely...
If I can give you any advice based upon my experience as a father, to cats specifically.
I have two cats as well, but yes, please.
Well, I will say make sure you clean the baby's litter box.
Yep.
And don't just feed it dry food.
Nope.
Make sure it has access to water, and beyond that, make sure it comes in the house by 11. And if not, leave the door open before you go to sleep.
Oh man, that's so funny. So we technically have 3 cats, but one of the cats is Audrey's, and the cat acts like he knows I'm not his dad type thing. Like he definitely treats me that way, and cats are interesting creatures in that respect. That because I wasn't there for his upbringing from kitten to cat, he definitely views me like I'm just some stranger in his house, even though I've lived here for 7 years.
That's probably. I mean, that's cat specific because I've lived with one cat that's known me since birth, and then the other 4 cats after that have all been like, "Who the fuck are you?" And then they're just like, "I love you."
Yeah,
that's just because I'm the best.
I'm a cat. So if you would have talked to me 7.5 years ago and been like, dog or cat, or do you even like cats? Not even the dog or cat thing. Do you like cats? I would have said no. I'm allergic to them, and they're just dirty. They're dirty beasts.
Jesus, I would have. We're not married.
I wouldn't have said I want to harm them or hurt them or anything.
That's good to know. Thanks for clearing that one up.
Dude, there are people.
Okay,
there are people around here that are they'll go get litters of kittens because on our classifieds constantly you can't get rid of enough kittens, right? Constant free kittens. All you have to do is come and pick up the free kittens. And I hear all these horror stories of people picking up kittens and feeding them to their snakes and stuff like that.
Yeah, there used to be people like that around me. Do you know what happened to them?
Hopefully incarceration.
I put them in the fucking ground, man.
They deserve to be.
Put them in the fucking ground.
But so 2 years ago.
What?
So 2 years ago now, Audrey and I we got our first cat together, which is Loki. The hairless.
Dude, I was gonna name my parents' cat Loki. No
Really?
shit. It's a good name for a cat.
Yeah, it should be
We got
Floki.
brothers, and they were gonna be Loki and Thor.
Loki and Thor. Yeah.
They didn't want to do that.
Well, it was while I was watching, which admittedly it's not the best television show, but it's
Vikings?
Vikings, yeah. But
That show's good, man.
It's a good show because I love how much they get into Norse mythology, and Norse mythology is like way better than most mythologies, in my opinion.
Yeah, Norse mythology is top tier. That's why on my Twitter it says I'm from Valhalla.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that, and that's why I liked you like right off the bat. But no, I just love that their explanation for like thunder was like Thor hitting his hammer against an anvil, or for lightning, and like Poseidon was mad with them because they didn't. I love that they filled in the gaps that they didn't realize with these gods.
I know that Poseidon is Greek, but I just want to point that out.
Well, what was their water god? I thought they called him Poseidon.
No.
What did they call? Okay, they call it something in Vikings. I know Poseidon is Greek mythology, and when I said that, I'm glad you.
No god overlap there. I know
but they do. There is the water god that because in Vikings.
I don't actually know who it is.
I called it Poseidon just because my brain was like, think of a mythology.
Okay, it's okay. Don't worry. It's all right.
But Loki, the trickster god, I love that. And what a great name for a cat, right? Like the trickster god.
Yeah, dude, little Loki.
Little Loki. I call him Loquito. Loquito. Loquito because he's just a little guy. But immediately we developed this awesome relationship, me and Loki. We're gonna talk about cats for 3 more minutes.
I was like during this whole thing. I was like, "We gonna talk about Dota."
We'll talk about Dota. We're gonna talk about cats for 3 more minutes.
Literally just doing that.
I developed this relationship with this cat where it was all mutual respect, and that's what I realized with cats. And now I would never say this in front of my dog, who came well before the cats. My dog's turning 6 in November. Yeah. But I like the personality of cats better than dogs. And I'll say because you have to earn a cat's respect, whereas a dog will love you even if you're like abusive. You know what I mean? A dog will still like love you, which I think is bullshit. Like the dog should hold some resentment. Like you do one wrong thing to a cat and that cat will remember that shit. And be like, nah, dude, you're not cool in my book.
They're also awesome because I was really mean to my childhood cat when I was in like 2nd grade. Not mean, but I would just like
pull on its tail and like
not that. I just like chase it around and shit and make it. He's just trying to chill and I'm like, I'm gonna chase you. And like that's like, what the fuck? This is my life.
Yeah.
And then later, I grew up and then the cat was like, you still a dickhead, and I was like, little bit less, and she was like, that's good enough for me. And we're like, oh man, we're bros. And then the cat I love the cat. So I mean, like, even if I don't know, man, that cat changed my life.
And come to find out, I'm not allergic to cats. I just have allergies, and I would just blame my seasonal allergies on cats, and and fuck cats because I have allergies, and my face swells up, and it's like, well, yeah, a dirty cat. Yeah, it will bring in a lot of dander that I am allergic to, for sure.
No, a couple, because the cats that are where the place I live now are outdoors, and I like every time I play with one of them for too long, I'm like, man, I might be allergic to this cat, but I'm like, no, it just fucking rolled around in the grass for like 3 hours before coming to hang out with me.
It's not the cat that you're allergic to, it's what the cat's been rolling fucking around in.
Well, now that we've cleared that up,
now that we've cleared that up,
Dota 2.
We are a little bit better at Dota 2. I have been taking things seriously with the exception of the last day. My MMR, I've climbed like 300 points, 300 points in solo by... I'm not even going to pull like the good communication card. I'm not even going to pull the trying to unite my teammate. I'm not even going to pull the I'm a positive guy card.
Because you're not.
I am to a certain degree.
I mean, you could be. I just didn't want to tell you were.
Yeah. So here's the thing. If you're playing music throughout the entire pick phase and I can't mute you, you're getting muted right off the bat. That's
and reported, and getting a drone strike.
I don't report those people. I save my reports for the truly heinous people because reports have become a more valued asset.
Yeah, they're a commodity now.
Yeah, like before I would just throw reports really willy-nilly. Now reports are like definitely for the feeders, for the racial slurs, for the bounty hunter that decides to steal your farm as Spectre because you haunted in and took a kill that was supposed to be his. But, you know,
and
you're a
for the people
Spectre.
with anime girl avatars.
For a number, or for the people that are like Trump for 2016, definitely. That's definitely a reportable.
I'm glad that that's gone from like don't talk about politics things to just like, can we just like?
No, I think it's our duty by now. I think it is our duty to talk about politics. Like if we're going to allow a psychopath into our White House, then it's the job of the people to make sure that doesn't happen. At this point, we left it alone for long enough. But that's a discussion for a completely different podcast.
Their opinion, and everything is different.
Well, that's my opinion.
I'm with you. I respect people who speak out about things. Anyway, not to go on another tangent.
Yes. So we're here for mid part 2. We realized that we got some incredible feedback. I am so sorry. Matter of fact, I am so sorry that I'm going to log into the email and find out exactly who sent this feedback because. God damn it, you opened my eyes to a lot of things.
All right, while you do that, I want to address the person that said that they hated me, but then after this show they liked me. And I just wanted to say that I'm sorry that I curse, but it's just who I am.
Yeah, it is who you are, and I think it's a good trait. So it's Mountain Man or Isaac that sent in a really long email. I'm not going to read it on the show because
it sucks.
No, it's really good. And what he had to say was really good. Basically, to summarize what he had to say was, I love what you're doing, but you guys are getting lost in tangents sometimes and not actually coming back to address an interesting topic that he'd like to hear the end of. Which I completely understand that maybe you and I realize in our tangent that, yeah, we covered that in our minds. But to the listeners... maybe they didn't get the information that they were seeking from a potentially interesting conversation that we brought up. So, Isaac or Mountain Man, I see you in our in-houses all the time. Thank you for sending us feedback. This feedback prompted me to write 3 pages without Proud. Didn't go over any of these notes with Proud. I'm going to bombard him with questions and pick his brain because it's definitely interesting to hear the perspective of somebody who has not only played Dota. I mean, you've played Dota for a long time, but people have definitely played Dota for longer than you that are even on this show. Like you are an exception for how little you've played, but how high your MMR is. And I think it goes back to StarCraft, and I think it goes back to not sucking any D's here, but I think it goes back to the fact that you are just an intelligent person, and that intelligent people tend to be better at these types of things. So
there's like one element, because like I actually do kind of want to talk about this a little bit, because when I was playing, because like I definitely do like to think, I mean, you know, there's no like fucking dick jerking here, but like I do like to theorycraft about games, that sort of thing. Like that's why games are fun to me. So like there's that aspect. But then like when I was playing WoW Arena, this is like the first time that I really got into this. Like when World of Warcraft Arena first came out, there were just some people that no matter fucking what, they would always win in any game they played. And it wasn't just like they were good at games. They just had this weird fucking X factor about them.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't have that. Like, I'm a very fumbly player. And like, yeah, I'm good at, you know, like Lone Druid and some micro stuff. But I don't know. There are just some people who
Arc Warden, I will mention as well, you were good at. But keep going.
Well, yeah, but I mean... I'm still kind of fumbly on Arc Warden, obviously. Like my mechanics are honestly shit.
But you don't have hundreds of games. But please continue.
Yeah, but man, there are some people who are just fucking extreme and just they never fail at any fucking game that they play. And I don't know if that expands to other things, but like there are some people that I would like to like that I've just seen in certain games, and I want to fucking follow them through the rest of their life and just see how they work. There's some people, man, they can just do shit, and I just don't fucking get it.
Yeah, I had a friend that
not me though.
I went through physics class with a buddy that just everything these extremely complicated subjects just came so easy to him, and I felt the same way. Where I was like, I would love to see you like climb a mountain. I bet you'd be really good at climbing a mountain. I bet you'd be really good at doing a bunch of different things because this shit like takes me 9 hours what you parse in 1 minute. So yeah, I definitely hear you there, but. I mean, I do feel like it needs to be mentioned that you were a Masters player in StarCraft, and I played for multiple years, and I played
And I wasn't even Zerg in Wings of Liberty.
You weren't even Zerg in Wings of Liberty, and I
Wasn't even
think, and I
Brood
want to
Lords,
talk
man.
specifically Wings of Liberty because a lot of changes happen in I want to call it Brood War, Heart of the Swarm, and then Legacy of the Void is like fucking a void in my mind that I
Still
don't
haven't touched
understand.
that, but I know it's a great game.
Yeah, I hear it's a great game and it's faster paced, but the
I'm
fact
already
that you
playing
made it to
Dota.
Masters is really impressive to me. And then watching one of your games and seeing that you went up against a semi pro that you had no idea because you shared a video with me, and I was like, dude, you're playing against Psycho, and it was SYKO. You guys can look him up. He was a semi pro StarCraft player that Proud handily defeated on a zealot rush, and then went back to win the game with incredible stalker micro for any of you that played. Uh, StarCraft. So you realize that it's a difficult thing to do, and so then Proud transitions over to Dota 2. And real quick, kind of a state of affairs type thing. Do you remember what
Yeah.
you calibrated at in Dota 2?
4K, because I mean, I played way before calibration was a thing. Like, I started playing Dota with my girlfriend at the time, and then we played a little bit, and then eventually I started doing like solo queue after Troll Warlord came out. 'Cause I
Oh,
really
so
like
Troll Warlord was he a new hero or was he
He was someone that I really liked in Dota 1 that I
okay?
remembered, and then he came out in Dota 2, and I was like, yo, I gotta play this. And then I just like I lost like 16 games. Like, my Troll Warlord win rate is like below 40%, I think, because when he first came out, all I did was lose games on him, and like I was playing well. It was just like the worst fucking games of my life. Yeah, so that was my entry into solo queue, which I think set the tone for me as huge losing streaks when I feel like there's no reason I should be losing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, it's something that I didn't transition from StarCraft like you did, and I just wanted that to be noted, to be couched, if you will, that you came in to from StarCraft and then played really good Dota, and I don't think it's because of your mechanics necessarily, although your mechanics are better than mine by far, but
I think
I think it's the way
that's
you
playing a lot.
I think it's the way you analyze a situation and are able to react quickly. What do you say on this topic?
So I've been kind of parroting this a little bit, or not parroting this for a little bit, but I've had kind of thoughts about because my reactions are shit. Like, part of my poor mechanics and how I get really like clumsy with things pretty often. And um, what was I gonna say?
You
Do
get
you know?
Well,
Do you
you
know what
get
I was
clumsy with things. I was basically pointing to the fact
Oh
of your
yeah, okay,
transition.
yeah. So I've been trying to think about like how to improve my reactions. And normally when you say like, okay, let's say you're doing like a Twitch reaction test, you know what you're looking for, right? Maybe you're playing something like, some little flash game. It's like when the head pops up, click the button and you snipe it.
Yeah, or the
One of those little.
helicopter game, or
Yeah, yeah,
little
and,
Twitch
and
games like that. Yeah,
anything like that. So imagine playing those Twitch games and then not knowing at all what you were supposed to be looking for. And obviously your reaction is going to get way worse. So like the way that you have these like good reactions and these good not only reaction times but correct reactions to things that happen is you like treat your brain kind of like a computer, and you need to load into your fucking RAM like the possible situations that are about to happen. You can't fucking have that shit on a goddamn like fucking spinning disk hard drive and then fucking load it into the RAM and then fucking like do the actions and shit. Like, you need to have all the fucking possibilities loaded up of things that can happen and then go. Like, if you're playing Ember Spirit, you need to know that like Axe may blink in within the next 2 seconds, and then you can react to it in time, not just like da 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 da. Oh, Axe has blinked in.
but you
Time for me
can't
to do
teach
my
somebody that.
reaction.
You cannot teach somebody that. Like, you can teach somebody how to last hit. You can teach somebody not to walk into fog. You
You
can
can
teach somebody general positioning, but you can't teach
no,
them
no, you can't. I mean,
that feel.
you can't just tell them something, but you can you can help someone practice like presence of mind. Like, let's say I was doing like an over the shoulder coaching like I do a lot with Michael when I used to live near him, and he would be farming. I'd be like, yo, look at the map, and he would look at the map and be like, you may have to blink out immediately soon. And then like if he saw someone, he'd be like, oh, there we go.
So
Instead
like
of just, like,
conditional training, like here's the
definitely
situation.
conditional or
Yeah.
behavioral, that sort of thing. Like, you may need to do this. Yeah, but I mean, a lot of it is honestly like you just need to have those repetitions. Which is why there have been which is why I play ranked the way I do, where I just mass spam games, and I don't worry too much about the quality of them. But Like
I want to
when
pause. I want to pause for a second, just a second on this, because
really want to talk.
I know you. I just really want. This is something that you just brought to my mind, and we'll get into these bullet points here in just a second.
Now
But
you're talking.
the way that you approach ranked versus Ursi, I think, is a very interesting dichotomy, where you just shotgun it, which of course you're going to see really high highs and really low lows, right?
The way I play, it's just really low lows.
No, I've seen
I'm
your
losing.
MMR.
I keep playing.
I know, and that's probably a bad thing to do, and it's probably best.
Definitely.
It's probably best for you to go into a normal for that, and this has been covered and regurgitated multiple times. But I think that it's the same way I play ranked, and I think it has to do a little bit with like
well, I don't
a gambler's mentality, maybe
no. Here's my thought on it. One. The way I play is I play to get better. The way Sam plays is he plays to win. That's what I would say. I mean, not like unequivocally, but at least our ways. I mean, he plays in general, to get better, obviously. But the way I treat ranked is I don't really play to win too much. Like if I did want to, I would just first pick Omni Knight every game, and I do play Omni Knight some, but that's only when I have to support and it's a good pick and all that shit. But the way I've always thought about it, and even on my 700 MMR in 1 week, losing streak and all that shit.
How does that? Oh God, what is that? Like 4 times 7 games, so like
it was
21
right when I got
games.
On winter break. It was right when I got on winter break.
I remember when it happened, but what 21 loss streak then?
It was. I mean, it was more games than that because it was over a week and I had nothing to do. But it was pretty much like win 1, lose 3, back to back to back to back to back. But anyway, the way I thought about it is I was totally untilted outside of maybe I was playing badly, but mentally I was totally unfazed outside of every so often, I'd like hit my desk one and be like, God damn it, lost again, fuck. But like the way I thought about it was right now, like, okay, so my dream in Dota is to do well in an amateur tournament or something, right? Or maybe
it's a cool
play
feeling.
in a TI qualifier for or just get really high in the open qualifiers,
like top 64 or something like that, or
well, we already got top 64. Like,
really? Are you shitting me?
Yeah, last time we got 64.
What is the next benchmark? 32?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We could have beat Pepperonis, man. We could have fucking done it.
I know. Yeah, I've looked into Perky Pepperonis since you guys talked about this.
E-hug people. And anyway, fucking, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so if I'm okay, so like that's what I want to do. Like that's what I want out of the game. And I can't, like, let's say I have a match coming up, I can't control what state I'm going to be in if I have a match. So I want to train my worst to be as good as possible. So if I'm playing like shit, that's a great time to practice because I played enough that my shit play, like I didn't untilt myself, it was just nonstop game playing. But eventually the MMR just like climbed back. Like it went from fucking 3 losses and a win to like 2 losses and a win.
Talk about conditional training. Training yourself when you're at your worst and training yourself when you're at your best. I mean, there's something to be said there. Holy shit,
dude! You watched Day9's, daily
I did.
100.
Oh, I fucking did.
Dude, that's when. I mean, this was what kind of like inspired that sort of mentality. He was talking about the like Frost style training. Is like what they did for the WCGs, where they would like put their chair down really low, put their chair up really high, make it too hot, make it too cold. Like go play. I
never heard him talk about this though. Wow.
Yeah. They were like when you prepare for tournaments, like put yourself in really shitty so that way like every situation is like your home setup instead of just like all that shit. So that's kind of where it comes from. Obviously I'm not like going to LANs and that sort of shit, but like I have fun when I compete and I don't have a lot of control when competitive matches are, and it'd be nice to just be able to queue up a game of Dota whenever and not have to like worry about all the specific situations, because that's what I want with StarCraft. I wanted to be good enough at StarCraft that I could just queue up without needing like half an hour of planning and mental like prep work and shit.
Yeah,
and like that's what I want to. I just want to play Dota and like be good at it. So I pretty much don't care about the quality of game. I want to train my worst to be as good as possible.
That's I will say that like,
but I don't
unconsciously. I know you don't. Please, that was in confidence that I told you that. I have been picking Tusk and Elder Titan and Viper, and
you win. It's fine.
I've been 2 of them were wins. So I've ran them 3 times in ranked. Give me a 4-star rating. Give us a 4-star rating. Go ahead. It's just been kind of I make sure I do it first on my team. I'm right now I'm justifying it and I won't. So I'm just going to stop while I'm ahead.
It's okay.
So I want to ask you one question before we go into this, and I mean it when I go into this. I'm prepared this week. Do you want and please answer honestly. Do you want to be a pro Dota 2 player?
No, I like podcasting more.
So all this. So what if?
I would do that, but no, I like podcasting too
so
much.
if something
I
just
wouldn't be a good
clicked,
pro.
if something just clicked with you, okay, and all of a sudden you climb like your buddy that you were talking about on a different show where you guys were roughly the same skill, and then he just rocketed ahead of you.
Immediately 6K.
Yeah. So say you rocket to that 6.5K mark, to the point where you are most often you're playing with pros if you're pubbing. Like you're at least going to get 1 to 2 pros, or semi-pros, whatever, in your matches. That's not going to overtake like wanting to do a podcast.
No, I don't think so. I would just have really good credentials as a podcaster.
Yeah,
and
no,
come TI, I would try to get in, and I wouldn't.
That would be awesome if you hit 6.5K. I will say
I'd
from
be like, listen to the 6.5K guy tell you about the bills instead of the guy who might get 5K soon. Hopefully,
it's about to happen. And I will say if I'm picking teams, I'm not going to say who I want first and who I want second, but I know I want Ursi last. That's all I've got to say between you, Flub, and him.
My previous statement aside about playing whatever and not caring about the quality games, I actually do care about that right now, just because Ursi is such a conceited little fucking punk ass piece of shit that egotistical fucking piss swill can't get 5K before me. You're never gonna hear the end of it.
Oh, dude, if he hits it before you
once, and it'll be done. But him, like,
no,
just his little. Oh my god!
If you guys let him get 5K before you, if you guys let him, I'm gonna be mad.
I know, like, so would I.
I'm gonna be really mad.
He's on my fucking team. You don't need to tell me this shit.
Oh, if you let him do that, I'm gonna be so fucking upset. Anyway, let's jump into the topic.
Okay.
So this is something that I was coached by a former 6.5K player. This was a while ago, and this is when my
Arteezy?
No, not Arteezy.
Okay.
But this is when I was in class, and I decided, you know what is the best time for me to prepare for Proudland? In class, because this is something I'm interested in, and what she's babbling on about and the clip she's showing us is not interesting. And you guys believe me, this class is not interesting. I've taken interesting classes.
This is important information.
Yeah, it is tremendously and hugely not interesting. But
okay,
I was trying to do my best, Trump. I think the saying China like Gina is the best way. Alec Baldwin. Anyway.
Yeah.
So what the former 6.5K specific mid player told me.
Yeah, I could probably beat him.
I've seen you do it, but was how to position my hero relative to the other mid hero.
Hell yeah.
And this is me specifically playing Alchemist. Okay, to give you some reference, because I don't know if this is going to be the same.
I'm envisioning it. Alchemist, though.
And so he's saying mirror them. He's saying wherever they're standing on their relative side or whatever, whoever it is mid, he said, I don't care who you're up against mid, mirror them as Alchemist. Now, I don't know if this is something that you do with all mids, and this is like a general rule of thumb, but I know with Alchemist, he told me, you want to mirror them. And his reasoning for that was making yourself defensible, like you were saying, in mid.
Mirror them as in keeping like distance, or like if they go left, you go left. If they go forward, you go forward.
So mirroring them in respect to, and mirroring them like cut mid in half vertical. So if they're to the left, I'm to the far right. Basically keeping max distance away from them at all times.
So cut it across like the
like diagonal. Look at it like a mirror. Like if I'm looking
at the diagonal, but
not the diagonal. Yeah. So
because mid is a diagonal, cut it on the vertical.
Yeah. So cut it so that like
keeping distance between you two.
Keeping maximum distance, but an easy way to conceptualize max distance is if they're standing on the high ground all the way to the left, you're standing on your high ground all the way to the right, type thing. Yeah. And just keeping as far away from them, and especially for a hero like Alchemist. And this was when I was going through this, and it was live coaching as I was playing through a screen share situation. He was it was like standing over my shoulder, kind of like what you were talking about with your.
Was it good? Can you recommend the coach?
Absolutely. Holy shit, and he knew timing windows really well, which is something that
Yeah.
I think it's for another episode, honestly. But
That's something that when I was playing StarCraft, it was all about timings, and I
oh,
feel
and
like
I understood the
Dota,
timings then. I understood
yeah,
the
like
goddamn
people.
timings.
I mean, like when I just think of the amount that people understood in StarCraft versus what people understand in Dota and what people take advantage of, like the concept of timing attacks, like we hardly use that.
Oh,
There's
dude, my Marines would like the second they would be about to attack is when 1-1 would hit. Like I would
yeah,
time it to the point where they're walking as 1-1 is researching, knowing that the second they get there, I have 1-1 Marines.
yeah, and that's
Like to that point, taking advantage of those, you're up on them by 1 damage per unit right at this
and
moment.
the way that we do sometimes take advantage of it is, of course, Roshan timings. Like that's one thing, obviously. But
Sure.
like do a single pull right before the catapult wave, that sort of thing. Like those sort of things make sense, and
But
pushing with catapults. But still, yeah. I mean, we don't use timing.
But it's
That's
not
just to
like I just
illustrate,
got Vanguard. I have a 10-second timing because before I just had a Stout Shield, but now that I have
right.
Vanguard, I can kill him in this next 10 seconds.
Dota definitely feels a lot less like a game that's timing attack based and all that business. But I do
Hmm.
definitely think that there's like when I first started watching Dota, I did notice that there was like that's the thing that we optimize the least on. Like when you say, oh no, the Koreans are coming in terms of like like a huge organized Korean effort with like infrastructure and shit to try to break the game. Like that timings would be where I would start if I had a fucking,
Oh,
like
yeah.
a think tank of
Oh, yeah.
Korean pros.
Well, like MC, for instance, like his stalkers reach their base. He has Blink and 1-1, and then he has his Oracle coming in, and then he has a Void Ray popping by, and like it was insane for sure.
Yeah.
But to bring it back to Dota,
Why?
the mirroring aspect, is
Okay.
this something that is universal? Because I only got coaching sessions on Alchemist. Um,
I guess not. I mean, Alchemist, definitely you're way more interested in your CS than almost all of your farming is just going to be, acid spray based, right? Like it's,
Acid spray and diving is what he was basically saying, like like diving for last hit. Like he's
yeah.
and by mirroring them, it gives you the best opportunity to dive for a last hit, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it made so much sense to me at the time where I was, but it didn't make sense
Yeah,
to
I
me
mean,
universally.
you can take that, to a pretty obvious conclusion. If Alchemist wants to mirror, that assumes that the other person you're against doesn't want you to mirror.
Exactly, and
Otherwise,
I think it may
so
have been game specific. Like I was up against a really shitty ranged hero. Like think of the worst ranged hero Alchemist would want to go up to,
I
go
don't
up
know.
against.
Quap.
Yeah, Quap or something like that. I think actually it may have been.
Quap. The first time I played Alch against Quap, I was like, oh my god, I should have banned this.
Yeah, yeah,
It's awful. You
it
like put
is.
your acid spray down, then she blinks and then
And
daggers you, and
screams
you're
and
like, "Oh
daggers and
God,
yeah,
I
it's
forgot she could do that."
yeah. I forgot she could make that mirroring not as big of a deal. But if I'm mirroring to the point where I
It's like a
know,
TA or a Windrunner, like
yeah.
you're set.
So okay, so yeah, I guess that was the point in why I was mirroring, and I think maybe he was just saying mirror in this situation because I was up against a
Well,
hero
I think
like that.
I think I would say anytime you're down on harass and lower range than the other hero, I think that's applicable. Like
For sure, but
if I'm Phantom Assassin, I have no interest in being within your auto attack range unless I'm, if I do, I can press W and then I will be. But
yeah,
for the most part, I want to stay at, as high a distance as I can until I want to. Obviously, there are some times where you want to right click someone and not use 50 man and that sort of shit, but you don't be pedantic to me.
for sure. And so basically the question being, yeah, is this universal? And now that I start to think about it, I don't think it is so much universal. Like imagine, DK versus Ember Spirit. Like maybe they're mirroring, but they're not mirroring to the same degree that I was with Alchemist,
Or with the same reasoning.
or with
Yeah.
yeah, even
But at
remotely
the same
similar
time,
reasoning.
it's worth saying that like in any matchup, there can exist a situation where you would want to mirror someone. Like let's say you're at 5 health on fucking like OD and you're against I don't know, and you're against I don't know who's the fucking melee here, and you're against Juggernaut. Like let's mirror the Juggernaut. That way he can't just press Q and immediately he's on you.
Yeah, and you have enough time to, even for slow reflexes, to say, I need to take that 0.4 second turn rate, or whatever it is for that specific
Yeah,
hero,
and
turn around and hightail it out of here.
yeah, so if ever you're at a harass disadvantage, then yeah, mirroring is definitely the thing to do. Another way you could say mirroring is just stay on the opposite side of the creep wave. That way, if they want to go on you, they have to walk through the creeps at worst. So yeah, like
Okay.
if mirroring isn't really doing it for you, opposite side of the creep wave.
Okay, moving on to another topic that I thought a lot about, and when I wrote this down, I was like, I can't wait to hear what Proud has to say.
Oh God.
At what point?
Lone Druid.
Yes, that is the answer. No, at what point in mid do I ask for help? As in, do I say TP now? And I don't mean the obvious, like I'm getting dove. Is there some sort of sign or some sort of fishiness or what? Like, what is a good time for me to say, okay, I need a TP mid, even though I'm not in immediate danger? I know I will be soon.
Okay, one, define immediate danger.
Immediate danger being like within the next 5 seconds, I know that I am out of position and that they can take advantage of that because I notice a support's missing off the map and I realize I know exactly where he is, even though I can't see him. It's an Elder Titan that's about to stomp me.
You know that you're about to be ganked.
But I know it might not happen for 3 to 5 seconds.
I would just say, I mean, you need to just like prep them for saving you. Also, sometimes that can't happen. Sometimes you're in a pub and you gotta
let's assume it's like a highly practiced team.
Okay,
at what point am I communicating? I need you mid now, like, and then they listen to me without exception.
If they're you would only say that if you knew it was going to happen. I guess kind of. Okay, there's a few factors to this. One, is the support going to do more help being mid than what they're doing? And is taking the support immediately worth it? Or can you wait for, you to start getting attacked and then they TP? Are you going to be disrupting anything the support's doing? So if we want to take this to like a high level Dota match, but I don't think it's quite as applicable, you have to factor all those things in. Right. And that's where the communication comes in. You'd say, can you come mid now? And if they're not doing shit, they'll probably just TP. And if they can't, they'll be like, nah. And then you'll be like, can you look to okay, I'm going to get dove soon. Like, can you have a TP? And then they'll be like, yeah. And then, like, that's one way to go about it.
Okay, I'm going to try and paint a situation for this that's a little better.
Fine,
Mirana arrow gets me, and I know it's max distance.
That's immediate danger.
So that is get here now. And that, I don't care what you're doing, TP.
TP. That's fucking Furrion. Can you TP top? Furrion, can you TP mid? Furrion, can you TP that?
Okay. So... I'm trying to paint a situation, or I see Bane because of the well-placed ward, and I know he's coming toward me.
Ping. You need help.
But that is not as immediate as I just got arrowed. So it's kind of a okay. So yeah, no, it makes sense that the more intel you have, the more time you have, right?
One thing you can do, if one of your things is you want to mitigate your supports, like ability to, or you want to mitigate how much blame you're going to get if the rotation was unneeded, or you want to even if you are playing with these people regularly, if it is like a team, to kind of like help develop a kind of like lexicon that you can actually use and work forward with, is if you just kind of describe what's actually happening, or what's actually happening. If you just said like Bane is mid, Bane is mid, Bane is mid. Your supports can take that to either mean I need to TP mid right now, or take it to mean literally Bane is mid.
It's all good. Bane's mid though. It's all good.
Bane is mid. I'm gonna check that out. Maybe I'll come. Maybe I won't. Because I mean, then you're just giving them information. If they TP and it's unneeded, they're like, why did I TP? And I was like, I don't know. All I did was tell you the state of the game, and you made a decision yourself. So that's a really good way to go about it. And if you're never gonna play with that person again, then they may just misunderstand you and it'll totally suck. But if you are going to play with them again, then they'll be like, when someone is mid, maybe I don't immediately TP and instead like wait for the situation to develop. Because I mean, if Bane's mid, he's going to nightmare you, and then they have some time to, work on it.
And they have time to get there. They have time to steal the nightmare from you, that type thing.
Sure.
Okay, next question. Is it always my job to call my missing? Is it absolutely, without a doubt, my job to call missing?
Pretty much, yeah. Because I mean, okay, you could say it's no one's job to call certain missings. So let's say someone dies and then they TP, safe lane, or let's say the mid hero dies and then your safe lane gets ganked by the mid hero, and you're like, he was dead, like he didn't leave my lane. I use that defense all the time. Like they have just as much an ability to know that someone is dead that I do, but I would personally say that you would be able to be like, when he respawns, be like, he's not mid, he hasn't come, he's missing, he's ganking a lane. right? Does that make sense?
No,
Like,
that
who
makes
else is gonna
absolute
have
sense.
that
And this is something I
information?
don't do. If they die, hey,
I really don't either for the most part. I'm very bad at, well,
but I know the right
maybe
thing to
I'm
do
not.
would
I'm
be
not
like,
sure.
hey, I just killed Ember. It's level 3, or maybe okay, it's level
Let's say
5.
six.
It's
Let's say
level 5 or
six.
it's level
All right,
6.
five. Fine, whatever.
Level 5. He could be close to 6. He's definitely a danger. Like it's easy enough for me to just point out the fact that hey, he's dead. He could be anywhere. I'll let you know if he comes back, because that's also the other portion to this is if I see a TP coming in and I see 4 other people on the map, 4 other enemies on the map, I know it's him by deductive logic.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's also my job to say, "Oh, he died," and then 20 seconds later, "Oh, he's back." I mean, or am I clogging the
You don't have to say he's back, but if he respawns and he doesn't come mid, then essentially he's missing from your lane.
yeah, of
You don't
course.
need to call, like, okay, so I have if we go to, like, chat commands, I have, when I press Y and I go to the right, it says enemy is missing. If I press Y and I go to the left, it says enemy returned. So
And that's
I
easy enough.
yeah, and I spam that pretty frequently. I'm just like, yo, Ember's missing. Oh wait, no, he's not. He's just on high ground. So that's like one, like, decent way to do it. Not that you asked me, but in general, like, the other thing I'm kind of thinking of is, like, let's say I die or I'm running back to base and I'm not even watching my lane, and then it turns out that he ran for the top rune and Ember Spirit killed top. And like, that's my fault, like, when
Yeah.
I'm running back to base, I should be watching my lane. I'm not going to, though. Like, in a real game I will, but I mean, like, in a 2K pub, you cannot expect someone who's, like, walking home and looking at the side shop to let you know that
Oh,
after
but they
someone got a
do.
rune, they ganked.
Oh, but they
Like,
expect it. But I completely
oh
agree.
no, I know that they complain and then
Yeah.
they blame you, but they don't expect you to actually have done that.
And they probably wouldn't do it themselves, but you're absolutely when
No.
if I'm walking home, all I have to do is one command to do that. You know what I mean?
Literally, yeah, click your base, put your fucking like, okay,
Yeah,
what
just
you
right
should
click
be,
base on the mini map. I mean, it's not even that
yeah,
hard, and I could leave my camera just centered on mid.
you
And
should be
I,
gathering information anyways. Like, if we want to talk about what you should be doing versus what you expect, I guess, or maybe I guess what I expect or what would be par. I guess, speaking about a show that's what, like, acceptable to do at a 2K level of skill wouldn't be a very productive show. But yeah, you should be gathering information. You should be clicking on people, seeing their items. There have been so many games that even I've been playing recently where I'm doing whatever, and like, let's say I'm, forced into jungling lone druid, and then I'm like, wait a sec, I don't know what farm their carry has.
yeah,
That's a problem. Like, you need to, whether or not you can go in or not is, like, whether or not that's the Queen of Pain has, like, a finished Orchid, or if that's one Oblivion staff. And, like, that's a fucking difference.
I'm gonna quickly harken back to StarCraft 2 before I move on to the next question and say that if I
Scouting.
I knew exactly the second they got 2-2 upgrades 2-2, like that was
Yeah.
something I was very good at, is gathering intel on their units. Like there's a unit showing, or I can scan if I'm playing Protoss. I have an observer, or Terran. If I'm playing Protoss, I have an observer. Anyway, this is something that I was very good at in StarCraft 2, couching that.
Yeah.
Next question would be this, and this is something that we brought up briefly on the last episode of Mid, but I kind of want to get a more definitive answer. We were talking about the general rules of, like, by 4 minutes my mid should be ganking. You're like, no, it should be the other way around. They should be ganking your lane. The question is,
Unless you get a haste.
unless you get a
Is the only
haste,
time I'm
yeah,
ever gonna gank. Or maybe
haste
the
is,
sub-heroes,
and
but
extenuating circumstances, of course. But
yeah.
if uncontested, is it generally the right thing for me to do? Is just stay mid and farm? Is that just absolutely what I should be doing with my time?
Depends on the
Is
hero.
Depends on the hero. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're talking like if
I
I'm
don't want to
playing
say anything else next
Clinks or
topic.
okay, yeah, okay,
No,
yeah.
I do. Sorry, I wanted to give, like, the most unsatisfying answer as possible.
Oh,
And
okay. I mean, it's true. It does depend, and you're absolutely right.
no,
That
I
does
mean,
go on.
it does. Like, okay, we talked about the classifications of mid heroes, right? Or just, like, a general kind of classification of heroes earlier. There's, like, your farming mids, and then there's your, like, more early game, like, very tempo-y mids, like Puck and that sort of thing. So, like, let's say you're Invoker and you want to get travels and a fucking Midas, or you're OD and you want to carry the fucking game, or you're Ember and you want travels and a drum. Like, that's a situation where you're going to do a lot if you just farm. But if you're Brewmaster, like, there are some heroes. So this is something that we hashed out on my team a while ago, where I drafted, like, Skrunk, a Tidehunter, and I was like, all right, as soon as you're 6, rotate and fucking wipe my lane because I don't want to lose this lane. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna finish my fucking mana boots, my blink dagger. And it's like, no, like, no, that's not okay.
And that harkens back to timings. I mean, you just hit level 6. This is your timing to clear my lane.
Yeah. And so there are a lot of mids that are very similar to that, like Brewmaster's Brewalty. You draft him to use that ability, and it's not like OD where it's gonna get better. It doesn't age like a fine wine. You need to I drafted you because you're strong right now, and like that's the only time you're strong. So you need to get as much out of your ulti as possible. Your biggest limiting resource on your ultimate is its cooldown. So in order to, or rather the time you can have it active, I guess is the way I would say that. So in order to maximize the time when it is active, you need to use it early. So OD, your limiting factor is your farm, or like how much uptime you can get on auto attacks, which is mostly defined by your farm. And Brewmaster or even like Queen of Pain's ultimate is one of her big limiting factors. Juggernaut's ultimate, one of his big limiting factors. So although this farm thing exists, you want to look at your hero and say, like, okay, what is limiting my power right now, or what is limiting just my general efficacy in the game? If it's a cooldown, if it's how long I can have this thing active, then you want to be leveraging it as quickly as possible.
And I think Quap's a good example as well. Before we move on, is that when you get that you're highly mobile already, and when you get your 6, your Sonic Wave, I mean, it's probably time to go help another lane, even if they're already winning. Help them win it more. But I mean?
There is definitely like a kind of middle ground, right? Because Queen of Pain and Juggernaut as well. They have these ultimates that are so strong that you want to make a rotation with immediately. But there's also like Queen of Pain's level 7, probably worth waiting for that because it doesn't take that long to get 7 compared to 6. And
more points in 7, E, is that what you're more points in this actual screen?
Yeah. And Juggernaut gets his max spin. And I think that's because like their supports probably aren't going to gain another level in the time it takes you to go from 6 to 7, but you're going to gain 75 fucking damage on a Queen of Pain. That's a lot of fucking damage for a level 4.
We've talked about 75 damage a lot. We don't need to talk about Sven anymore because 75 damage does matter a lot.
Yeah, it's true. 2 points in Q.
That's 2 points in Q. All right.
It's a fucking Q. Yeah.
So next question. I just want to move this along because
I know. I'm sorry. I
think it's great to get a long form response, and I think this episode's going to be longer than most, but that's because I have finally conceptualized how I want to pick your brain, and I know exactly how to do it because I know you pretty well. All right. At what point do I just give up mid?
As soon as you can jungle, and if it's going really bad and you've died already.
That's what I mean. It's going bad. So 1 death, 2 deaths, tower loss. When do I just say, all right, cut my losses, leave? Like,
all right. So here's something to think about. Why would you leave lane?
I'm not getting gold. I'm not getting experience. I'm dying often.
Okay. So
he's getting more.
I'll ask you again. When do you normally leave lane?
It's generally a feel. I mean, when the rest of the team starts moving around, I guess. I couldn't tell you like 8 minutes to 9 minutes. I don't know. It's just a feel.
Let me try to just give the answer that I'm trying to get.
Okay.
So normally people leave lane after it has become clear to them that they should have already left lane, or after something that happens makes it so they can no longer return to lane, right? Does that make sense? Like, normally you leave lane after you already committed an egregious sin that forced you to leave lane.
Sure.
So ideally, you'll leave lane right before that 3rd death happens, right?
I would like to think so, but I'm going to tell you that even in my own play, I'm a mid hero. We're still in the laning phase. I've died 3 times in 4 minutes. But yet I'm still TPing back to mid every single time I die and come back. You know what I mean? I'm still doing it because I'm a mid hero. That's what I do. I go mid against this guy.
So there are some times where you really can't do a great deal about that. Like let's say you're Ember Spirit and you've died 4 times and you're level 3. Like the fact of the matter is you fucking lost. There's not a lot of advice I can give you. You can ask for a lane swap. You can ask for a rotation. But, it's a game of Dota 2. If you die a lot, you're going to be at a severe disadvantage. There's not a thing you can do that can just make that disadvantage go away. Like, getting a kill will help, but that's going to be fucking hard because you fed them 4 times or whatever. So there are some heroes that can just go jungle. You can be Storm Spirit, make stacks in the jungle, maybe wait for the runes spawn, and then they're gonna, like push the wave out really far. Then you can take the wave onto your tower, that sort of thing. So you can play ultra conservative. People really underestimate how much just like playing like a total fucking coward can actually help you out. Like, yeah, don't get anything from lane. At least you're not fucking dying anymore. Cause like you'll just lose all that. Cause I mean, if the only gold you're getting is passive gold, that shit's unreliable. So don't die again. But if you do have to leave lane, stack every minute. If you're gonna go for a rune, maybe look for a fucking bounty rune. I don't know. That shit's important.
Okay, I'm
Gank
Ember
a
Spirit
side
level
lane.
3. What the fuck do I do? I can't jungle.
You can make a couple stacks. You can sit outside of XP or out of like lasting range, but get some XP.
I'm against the
Um,
Phantom Assassin. These daggers are unrelenting.
okay, sit in the trees.
And just wait for your team to be able to finish their laning phase, and you'll catch up.
Maybe wait for them to push the creep wave. That's one option. Maybe try to go for runes. Stacking camps is a big deal. Try to gank a side lane. Buy a smoke and boots, and then try to gank a side lane. Like maybe it'll work.
Because even though you've died 4 times, you're probably equivalent level to a 2-1-2. So you're probably equivalent level to the side lane. So you ganking just means an extra person. We've already
Either way, all it takes is, like one more hero to turn a 2v2 into a 3v2. And like whether or not that hero is good or not, like that's still an advantage if you can do anything
It's
with it
still
at all,
more
right?
things being shot at another thing.
Like if you're Ember Spirit and you press E, they're probably not going to have enough magic damage to take down your shield and your teammates and you, right? So
Yeah,
I mean,
and
unless they have 4 AoE spells.
even if you're a meat shield and you take all of the nukes and everything, and your E wears off because of that, well, your teammates didn't take that magic damage, and now you're at an advantage yourself because your
Yeah, and
teammates have
then
skills.
maybe Phantom Assassin sees that you left lane, so she tries to push, and as soon as the lane's pushed up, you can like TP back to your fucking to your lane and get some experience. Like,
And at least get experience. Okay, so
yeah,
that's kind of what I was looking for, is like your absolute worst case scenario, which lately has been PA mid for me.
yeah, PA mid is very
Even with the
strong.
new change, I mean, even with 6.88
That
E,
only nerf support PA. Let's be real.
yeah, holy fuck, like. I was like, oh, this is great. I won't see PA mid anymore because the
No,
dagger is shorter.
she's still good.
Oh my god, is she still good mid? Okay, next question. At what point do I, as a mid, stop ferrying out salves and regen? At what point do I just say, look,
As
I've
soon as you
I've
get a
eaten
bottle,
enough net worth?
bottle crow on non-stop.
Okay. We've talked about this before as far as it being hard in 2K. And some, I mean, is there any, I guess this leads to a question that I don't have written down, which is there, are there mids that it just absolutely should not get bottle, or, because I know Invoker, it's just
Invoker,
never bottle. And that's because of
Invoker.
Quas, I'm guessing? No bottle?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you need your Midas, you need boots, and you don't need mana that much, and you can health regen with Quas. So yeah,
So Invoker is like the one exception, you would say,
for the most part, some people say Razor sometimes, sometimes Viper, but for the most part, most mids are buying bottle these days, despite all of its nerfs.
and that's
Yeah,
because it's renewable
sniper.
regen.
Yeah, renewable regen, save runes for later. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So next question. At what point do I know I've won my lane? And I know
I
it's a
guess
feel, but like, how can I definitively tell people in that moment, "Hey guys, I've won mid"? Is it 3 deaths? Like,
on one hand, I would say it's matchup dependent. Like if let's say I exit the lane with 60 CS and 30 denies, and they exit the lane with 20 CS and 5 denies. Like obvious, and we haven't killed each other at all. Like I would say I won that lane. But at the same time, let's say I'm Nyx Assassin and I'm against OD or something like that. Like, and we're even on CS. I lost that lane really hard because I'm in this game to fuck up. Or let's say I was Razor against a PA and we went even. Like we killed each other. And were even on CS. Like I lost that lane because I need to win because I'm Razor. That's a fucking PA. Like I'm not gonna fight that
oh,
late game. I'm in the game purely to dominate the mid lane and we went even. That's a loss. So it can depend a lot. Like if you're Puck and you don't kill the enemy mid laner, if you're Bat Rider and you don't kill the enemy mid laner, unless you completely dominate CS and denies, you probably lost the lane. So I mean, I think you can get what I'm saying. Like it's
Oh,
pretty dependent.
absolutely. And I guess when I wrote this down, I was thinking more. I didn't think about it from the different ways you can win a lane. I guess I just looked at it as like the 1v1 mid when you go 1v1 mid
How are
against
you
somebody where
able
it's like,
to all chat someone I won mid LOL? Like
yeah, I
that kind
just
of
yeah, I guess I was kind of looking for that ultimate answer, like every Dota 2 player is at some point, where it's like I can be like, hey guys, let's all pop a bottle of champagne because I just won mid, and
yeah. Well, if
it's
you kill them twice, that'll do it.
yeah, that so twice,
And
or
not at level one. Like a level one kill really doesn't matter that much.
because
That
if
just
they
means you
return kill
expended all your
you,
shit.
yeah,
Yeah, if they return kill you, also they didn't lose any experience. Most likely, you probably didn't even kill a single creep before they got back. Like,
that wow, truth, and that's something that uh, I often wonder how much it's worth it to expend all of your regen and resources on first blood. Um, like I see a lot in 2K where people just won't back, even though they should have. And yeah, they do end up getting the kill, and oftentimes they don't die themselves, and
okay,
we
so
and we
here's
get
the
first
thing
blood.
about my team and what I've started doing. We like to smoke around like level one smoke and go for the gank at the rune or whatever.
Hmm.
But what would often happen is that like we gank the rune that's by their safe lane. So basically, we gank going to our off lane, so we're on our off lane side of the map, and I'm the carry, believe it or not. So we do that shit, and then let's say this fight lasts, like it lasts until the rune spawns or is at the rune spawn. I can't get back to safe lane. And
Yeah,
if it's a long fight, like we're gonna do our shit. So I literally, whenever we smoke bottom, I just buy a TP, and I just TP to my fucking lane after the fight. Like that's how fucking dumb these fights are.
which was something that wasn't possible not that long ago, because a TP used to cost 125 gold, and there's no way you could have fit that
35.
into your build. 135, yeah, and then
Yeah,
and they just kept lowering and lowering and lowering.
yeah.
So now I completely agree that having a TP. So basically, you anticipate the fact that the fight could
What
go
I'll
long.
say is you need to look at okay, so I mean obviously you're not doing that in like a 2K, 3K pub or whatever for the most part, unless someone's really well organized and then you're gonna win that game. But like doing any of these fights would during any of them during any fight ever, really, I'm looking at the creep wave and I'm saying, how much CS am I missing for this fucking like shitty donkey show? Like, I have no interest in this fucking bullshit that's happening right now. I want to goddamn just fucking go get my fucking CS, dude. I have no interest in killing this person for 100 goddamn gold.
And that's
Like,
usually me. And that's usually me where I'm like, good luck, guys. And then I get pinged and like, you idiot, Storm Spirit. Your remnant would have killed him, but he got away. And now we've missed a whole creep wave of experience. They don't say that because they don't realize that creeps give experience, I don't think. But uh, it's always, I'm like, no, fuck this. I got the bounty rune. I'm Storm. I'm going mid and farming. Like, yeah, keep him occupied as long as you can, you plebeians.
we've had fights where at like okay, I specifically remember a fight. This was when Vafa was still on our team at our rune, and we like lost. Vafa died, and then we killed two, and then we chased their mid for like the better part of a minute.
I
And then by
bet.
the time we killed their mid or they got away, and they had like no health or mana, and they went back to mid lane, and Vafa was like level three, and they were still level one with like two pieces of experience to their name. We were like, well, that fucking worked. Like Vafa died, the other mid lived, and he was drastically ahead. Like that's how dumb these fights can be.
Yeah, and no, and I see that all the time where I don't even know who I'm mitting against until maybe like a minute 30 on some of
Yeah.
these, just because the fight is lasting so long and it's just back and forth, and nobody's like prioritizing a target, so the damage just spreads amongst like four people. Whereas if it was targeted, one person would have died. The fight
Yeah.
would have been
And this
over. It would
is
have equalized.
this is something that we said on I think Sam said on the Thursday show. It was like Sam is our synergy, by the way, if no one knows anything. You can feel free to stalk him. That's the name that he does go by. But yeah, kills early game aren't actually worth that much. One of the coolest things that Skrunk ever told me, and this was when he was like getting to be a good offlaner, he was like, sometimes it's good if I just feed myself very early, because then they like attack me, and then my creep wave goes on them, and their creep wave is still killing my creep wave, and then I just like die and give them 120 gold, and then I respawn and there's a wave at my tower, and that's sometimes the best way to deal with the tri lane. And I was
That's
like, huh,
fucking high level, dude.
that's yeah, like people suicide to neutrals. Why don't you suicide to the enemy team? Same shit.
Especially if it's only worth like 2 last hits or 3 last hits. You know what I mean? Wow, that's
Or zero, because I mean, so let's say you're Timbersaw, you level up
the Q.
reactive armor or whatever,
reactive
and
armor,
then you
yeah.
just kind of like let some shit happen. Their creep or your creeps are attacking them. Their creeps are just not taking any damage, and then you like keep pulling the creep wave, and then you die, and then you respawn, and then you TP, and their creeps are at your fucking tower.
Of course, a caution to put on this: early levels, not I mean
But
not
like
later
you
on.
do that
which,
literally level 1
yeah.
against an impossible tri-lane. That can be the play. You don't want to feed first blood though. That's like if first blood's already taken, that's when you do it. So it's a very selective situation because first blood is a big deal. But
That's cool.
if
And
someone first blooded the rune or your team first blooded their off laner like very early, then and you're still level 1 and you're not getting shit, you can do that, and that's totally fine.
wow. Okay. Next question, and this is one that let's go ahead and put the assumption that this is in a vacuum, and I'm very conscious of my mini map. At what
So
point?
this is like a fantasy land.
This is a fantasy land. Yes, it is. This is a fantasy land for me, at least, where I'm watching the minimap to the point where I see all the enemy supports on the map.
God bless. You're so good.
I see where the supports are. I see, they're doing a tri lane, and I see both of them up there. And then I notice 10 seconds later, I don't see any of them. Is this an immediate call to action to get behind my tower as a mid?
If you see both of the supports and then don't see them anymore.
Yes. So let's say 15, I see them, and then 10
Where are
seconds
they?
later,
Where did you see them?
I just in lane harassing the off lane. They're a tri lane.
Okay.
They're a tri lane. It looks normal, and then all of a sudden, both of them are gone. And it's been about 10 seconds since I last saw them. 15
Okay.
seconds since I last saw
All
them.
right. Finish the wave and then do one more creep and then die because you thought you could have pushed it that far, but actually you couldn't. That's my strategy. And then I forget to use my fairy fire.
Yeah.
Next question.
So the right call being the second they disappear, may as well just stand behind your tower, close to experience range, maybe in experience range, but
It can depend. You can get a kind of sense of like, do I think these people will gank me? Like, okay, well, I guess that's maybe don't do that because
Yeah.
when I play with you, I'm often like, they won't kill me, and then I'm like, oh wait, there was 6 of them there.
Yeah, 6
How
of them all of a sudden. What the
I
fuck?
was like,
Arc
I thought
Warden,
they were
Tempest
bad.
Double.
I just like next level fucking like mind gamed myself. Like, there's no way someone would be would be here because that would be like so bad. They'd be like 3K bad, but they were like, oh, we're 2K, and I was like, oh shit.
Okay.
That level of incompetence.
So cut and dry answer. You don't see the supports. You see the supports.
You don't see the supports. I mean, think about how long it would take. It's normally if you think about how long it takes
20-second
creeps.
walk, probably. You know what I mean?
So I often like to think about like the speed of creeps in terms
okay.
of
Wow.
in terms of like support rotation. So it takes
30
a creep
seconds.
about a minute actually to get because you pull like think about it you pull the camp like after all the creep speed up and speed down has stopped happening. You pull the lane you pull the hard camp diagonally at
53.
about like 53 or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And then you pull at 53, it gets there about like 55-ish, and that's more or less so like that level of distance is about a minute. So the lane to your lane is maybe about 45 seconds, something like that. So like after you and if they have smoke maybe it's 30. So you have enough time to finish a wave basically for the most part because waves come every 30 seconds too for the most part. So just like
So notice
finish
they're
your
missing,
wave,
finish the wave, get back
and
until you see them again.
and then finishing the wave is a good measurement or a good like stopping point on like when you can get farm and shit, right? Because when the next wave starts, if it's pushing towards them, you don't want to be forward anyway. If it's pushing towards you, you don't actually need to kill the creeps because your creeps are just going to die before you kill theirs. You can stay in XP range, and if the creep waves are average, it normally takes a pretty long time for a ranged creep to die anyways. So you can just get back. You can look at the time. Maybe you have enough time to stack a camp or something. Make sure your time's not wasted. There's a lot of shit you can do if you just have the presence of mind for it. But this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. You need to have all of these ideas like preloaded into your head like so that when the situation comes up, it's like you need to be laning, you need to be looking at the supports and say, all right, if they're missing, I'm going to finish this wave and then look at the game timer and then pull. And like that's something that you need to kind of like. Dota is like the most mental game. It's way more mental than StarCraft in terms of
it is
like
for sure.
StarCraft is way more mechanics and way more just like, you know, you already have your algorithm for
It's
how you're
less
gonna play
feel.
right now.
StarCraft is definitely less
Oh yeah.
feel about it.
Yeah, Dota is it on one hand it seems like it's the most intuitive game. That's what I've always really liked about Dota and a lot of video games in general is there's this kind of like a differentiation between like intuitive players and incredibly like intelligent and not to intelligent and smart, but you know, like just have a very deep algorithm. And then there's people who just like fucking go and they just know how to do it. Um, does that make
No, it
sense?
does. I think of like pros like Owie being your calculated, and then Arteezy being your know when to go
Well,
type guy. You
I,
know.
I, I don't know them well enough to know that, but I would say maybe we'll say like something else that I've
Yeah.
just known some really fucking stupid goddamn players, like just really fucking stupid idiot people who are so goddamn good, and they don't have a fucking thought in there. And this isn't me like with people that I hate. I've just like watched these people. I'm like, you're just a dumb person. Like, how do
But you're
you?
so goddamn good at this
You're
game.
so fucking good, but you're just dumb as fuck. Like
And
you know,
yes,
if I asked you about this shit, like you wouldn't know what to say.
I
You would
don't
just
think they could articulate it, but the
no.
feel is just there for them. They just have
Yeah,
that
so that's
inherent.
yeah. And then there are some people who just like they have to be thinking the whole time for these fucking things to happen.
Well, you don't teach a baby to breathe. You know what I mean? It's second nature.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? To
yeah.
go all the way back to the
I
start.
couldn't think of a single joke to make off of that. I really
You
tried.
don't even try. So people did appreciate the benchmark talk, and I want to just quickly go over benchmarks real quick as far as last hits
Okay,
go.
fine.
Should a mid have the same benchmark as a safe lane?
No.
How much lower? Say if we're saying that the average for a safe lane is 60, where should your mid be looking if we're saying all is even?
Um, if all is even, somewhere between 40 and 50 is okay. Like there are some games, I don't know.
Because I
Talk
feel
a
like I'm
little bit
doing
about
good with
things.
40 in
I'm
mid.
I'm gonna yeah. I mean it depends a lot. Like so, what I like to do for the most part. Okay, since it's pretty lane dependent, one of the things that I often look at is I go into my Dota Buff, which I pay for Dota Buff Pro. Dota Buff, please sponsor me. And shut up. Okay,
Yeah, go
just
ahead.
trying to get.
Sorry.
You didn't
Yeah,
have to
no,
mock
I
it.
didn't.
You didn't.
It was rude.
And I look at my enemy mid, and if I do more than them and it's a matchup I should be doing more than them in, I'm like, okay. If I do way more and it's a matchup it should be even, I'm like, okay. If I do way less, it's so I just kind of like look at it, per hero because there are certain tactics that can like it's really easy to fuck up someone's last hit, but it's a lot harder to deny. All you have to do is like right click right before. Like let's say there's a ranged creeps auto attack coming in, and you could have right click before then, and then the range creep would kill it, or you could right click after that, and then you and the enemy mid would both be competing for that last hit or deny. But if you just do it before, like right before the enemy but right before your range creeps attack goes in, you'll just get the deny, or not get the deny. You'll fuck up the last hit, but you won't get the deny. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you'll make it so they can't get the last hit, but you may have not gotten the deny.
Yeah.
Which
Okay, so
is, well, yeah, they got full experience, but they didn't get the gold for it, so it's worth it,
yeah,
And
so
this
and it
happens all
won't
the
show
time.
up in their last hits, right?
Yeah,
So it can be a little bit hard to describe things like I don't know. There's this OD game that I played, and I only got 29 last hits at 10 minutes, and I was against a Huskar, and there was various things. That's actually a pretty bad game to look at. I was just trying to look at games where I fucking was like, how much did I get in mid? But I mean, it can vary a lot. But I would say 40 is good as long as you don't get horribly outlast hitted. 50 is solid. 60 is great. If you can hit 60, fucking God bless, man.
you probably won the lane if you hit 60, especially well. I mean, it depends, I guess, at higher level games. But in your mid 2Ks, you hit 60 mid, you're feeling good, even if you don't have any kills or assists.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say 40 is a good number to aim at. Like that's safe. I don't want to be there.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah, I don't want somebody to hear that and say like, oh man, 40, like who's this guy telling people what to do? He sounds like he sucks. But I don't know. There's a mid game I played. My last hitting on OD is actually really fucking bad. But at 10 minutes I had like 37, and the like whatever 5K windrunner I was up against had like 43. And given that I suck at OD and last hitting on him, I think that 40 is like pretty okay.
But the experience kind of compensates for the gold in a way, seeing as you're usually in a single, you have the lane to yourself. So next question being, and this kind of stems from all the 1v1 mids that I've done.
Okay, wait, yeah, 40 is actually pretty. It's like it's an okay benchmark in general. Like
Yeah,
40 is the equivalent of the old, I would say 55.
Oh, okay.
Or nah, maybe even 60 because
It
I don't
just
know.
it feels good. I mean, it
I
feels
play
good.
a lot of disadvantageous matchups unless I'm OD because I play melee almost 100% of the time.
I played a Viper mid, and I felt really good about having like 43 at 10. And I mean, I didn't have any
As a
kills or
Viper,
anything.
I would want at least 50.
Yeah, and I know that Viper is one of those easier lane dominators. Probably should be winning the lane. You've probably lost the lane if you haven't gotten a kill. But I felt good that I had an Aki, I had treads, I had all these important things by 10 minutes, and it felt honestly like I was winning. Okay, so because of all the 1v1 mids that I was doing, like I was saying, it's kind of ingrained this mid being the most important tier 1 because, like you have said, mid is the most defensible, and I'm starting to understand this, especially with all the pro games that I've been watching, that it is a very defensible lane. And when supports TP in, they're usually very close to the action the second they get out of the TP, right?
And they're also within. They can be within trees when they TP.
Yeah, and they can hide their teleporting and everything like that, which there's a good reason for that, obviously, in the map creation. Is tier 1 mid generally the way to go? Say we have like some drow strat and laning phase ends and no tier 1s have fallen on the map. Is our first goal to take tier 1 the mid tier 1, or is it dependent on side? Is it like dependent on if I'm Radiant, I want to kill Dire's tier 1 off lane?
Yeah. So I meant to talk about this a little bit on the Thursday show, but in our team we've been going through some changes, and I've been trying to put more of the weight on my shoulder. Like I know the way Flub plays is very like not greedy at all. So like I definitely gonna take a lot of the farm, but at the same time that also means that we have to make shit happen. So if there's a Blitz video that he put out a while ago. It's like private. I don't know. If you look for it, you can find it. It just kind of talks about like how to play the map. And one of the big things, and I think I've talked about this before when we were talking about the safe lane, is you always want to be fighting in the enemy team's safe lane. If you think about any game where, let's say, you're a Spectre or you are Medusa and you're against an anti-mage or something, and all the fighting is going on your side of the map, and like you're Spectre and you have to be fighting in these fights, and meanwhile their anti-mage is like free farming, and you have like a Darkseer who's up there who's like, guys, anti-mage is farming, please someone come help, and you're like, we can't, we're fighting right now. Like you need to stop that cycle as quickly as possible. So what I do is, as soon as I'm like 6 and I have full mana, is I almost always just port top, and I'm like, yo, let's kill this lane, let's wipe it. And then we just like 4-man rotation and then wipe their safe lane. And then as soon as they're disorganized and we have a bit of an advantage, and their safe laner like wants to farm and your safe laner is well off, like that's when you just 5-man mid and you take that tower out.
Okay, so prioritize safe lane towers for the opposing team.
If you can, as a group, it's like a team effort, absolutely. What the main thing that you want to do, okay, like the mid tower is definitely like the first main goal that you have should be how we're gonna take the mid tower. There are a couple ways to do it. One of the main things that I like to do in Dota in general is I like to attack a weak objective and then use that to generate an advantage if they defend it, and if not, you get a free tower. So
That's interesting.
The most extreme thing is, okay, so let's say we take down tier 4 and a melee Rax. And now we have an Aegis. My team's like, yo, let's push top instead of mid. I'd be like, yo, all there is a ranged Rax. Let's take that, because if we attack there, that's a very easy Rax to take. If they defend it, they could sacrifice 3 lives or something like that, or even just 1. And we both get a ranged Rax and a kill. And then we can take that advantage into the high ground on the other lane. So like what you want to do is you want to force them to defend easy to take objectives. And then you use that to generate an advantage that you can then use to make the next objective just as easy to take. So do that. If mid is very defensible, like the number of times that you've had a standoff 5v5 mid, I'm sure is uncountable. And then the number of times that you've done that, but then one of the people on their team is an anti-mage who can go teleport around the jungle, fucking do a full clear, and then also be back to, be at the fight. Like, that's some real shit. So if you want to take mid, you want to just do it in and out and fast. So what you want to do, you want to take a couple towers, get a nice big advantage, enough that you can just do an overwhelming, like, full blitz, like, mega rush or a smoke around or something. Like, you want to do some real shock and awe shit, and you want to take their mid out quickly. You don't want it to be this long, like, drawn-out engagement.
Okay,
Take the other 2 tier 2s if you have to. One of the main ways that it'll actually happen is, let's say I'm Slark and I'm, pushing whatever lane that, like, oh, Queen of Pain is trying to gank you, Slark, she just got bottom rune. And I'm like, oh, geez, supports come teleport and help. And then while that's happening, my Invoker has his Ring of Aquila up, and him and his Forged Spirits are just going to take down the mid tower. So, like, a lot of times it's just you create a distraction, and then someone else pushes mid for you, or the mid laner pushes it. But you just want action to be happening somewhere else on the map, and then you split push the mid down while some fight is happening. Or and you need to let people know that that's happening, because if I'm doing a team fight and my mid player's like, I'm not gonna come, like, I need to know that shit. So that's one of the main ways. Like, when mid gets snuck, it's just like, oh, I left mid and then Lundruid took it. It's like, oh, fuck. But
so this is going to be a longer episode.
Other towers.
Yeah, I do want to let people know that, because I'm so glad that
was a long episode.
So Isaac, once again, I'm gonna thank you, because I feel like this so far has been the most I've learned from Proudland, and I'm glad that we're taking it we're still covering the hierarchy, or the overarching theme of mid, but it's specific questions that I know a lot of people have. I know it because I see them do these things, and I play a lot of solo with a lot of people, and I very rarely go mid. So my next question is going to be a lot more specific, because this is something that I know I see in almost every single game, and the next 2 questions are very similar but are going to have different answers, which is, what is the best way for me to deal with a pudge mid? I know it depends on my hero.
You need a ward. That's step 1. You need a ward to put on your high ground. Doesn't really matter too much wherever you think the pudge is going to be coming from is important. You definitely need a ward. I'll say that a few more times.
Okay.
I think that if you have a ward, it'll help.
Should I buy it, or should I just beg?
You can beg for it. If they're not going to give it to you, buy it. If they're not going to give it, or if they've already bought them and they won't give it to you, a ward comes comes in stock within like a minute of.
So make sure you have it on like your queue to buy things. Like,
yeah,
you get that next
if you've
ward.
ever played Dota, you know that as soon as or if you've ever played support. Some people play Dota and they don't know this, I guess. If you've ever played support, you know that, like, as soon as you get the courier upgraded in your boots and shit, and you check to buy courier, or check to buy like other support items, you're like, shit, there's 2 in stock already. I don't have my arcanes yet.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as you look, it's always like those eyes are staring at you, and they're just like, you have shirked your responsibilities, Mr. Shadow Demon. Like, that's what it is. And they're like, oh god, I have to sign a pact with the demon for a loan.
And that's funny, because I know that feel. I've been playing a lot more support, and it's like, I'm Ancient Apparition. It's like, I can't afford it.
It's not just like, okay, I have 1 obs to buy you. Like, you check at fucking minute 4 after you got the courier done, you got your boots, and it's just like, look at all these wards you have to buy still. Like,
it may as well just be like when you don't buckle your seatbelt in the newer car, and it's just like beep 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 beep, and it's like, I know I need to put it on, but I can't right now.
The tranquils, can I just get those? Yeah.
Okay.
No. Okay.
So you have a ward. So you
ward.
want to, and for obvious reasons, right? You want to see where the hooks are coming from, and this is a perfect example of mirroring. you probably always want to mirror Pudge, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But continue.
Okay, so if you ever want to engage him, try to do it inside the creep wave. That way, there may be creeps, between because you have a longer attack range. You both have longer attack range than creeps. So let's say you're right clicking each other. There's a pretty good chance that either your creep wave or his will walk in between you two. I hadn't really thought about that, but I just did. So there you go. Enjoy that one. So if you are going to be man fighting him, because Pudge actually, I mean, he's got shit armor. He's got a bunch of health. So does every hero now. And he normally doesn't buy like important items. So like let's say you have your fucking Wraith Band or whatever, and you have like a bunch of damage, and he's casting Rot, and he's hurting you just as much as he is, or he's hurting himself just as much as he is you, and you have like more right click damage on him. Let's say you started out harassing him, and he's at like 3/4 health, and you're at full health. There's a pretty good chance you just kill him if he tries to man up on you. So like the number one thing I would say about Pudges is if you're just walking away and he's walking away, you are going to get kind of far, and then he's going to hook you because he's right next to you. And then you're just going to die. Like all you're doing there is just saying, okay, I'm going to die a little bit more slowly. If you're trapped by a Pudge, if he's on you with Rot and you can't get away, you might as well man fight him. Like,
and just hope for a trade at very least or something like that.
Well, normally it will be a trade, honestly. Like unless the Pudge is really good. I mean, if he's 6, don't do that. If you have a stun, maybe do that and back up and try to dodge a hook. But like if you do, get hooked in or whatever, if you're in a creep wave, or rather if you are man fighting him inside a creep wave, try to get a creep between the two of you. You can move in between auto attacks just fine. Try to dodge the hook if you can. If you have a ward, it shouldn't be too crazy. Get your boots as fast as possible. It should always be bottle boots. Yeah, like getting the boots is a huge deal. Maybe even buy a windlace.
Just movement and intel is going to be your basically is what I'm gathering from you right now.
Yeah, and harass is important. Pudge takes less spell damage than other heroes, but that's not until he levels Flesh Heap, which isn't for a very long time. He's gonna max Rot and his hook first.
We'd see it at level 10, right? So level 10 is the soonest.
Probably, yeah. I don't play enough Pudge. That's probably what you do if you max the other 2 skills, right? But so just try to get the harass on. Most heroes beat Pudge mid. Even if you're flub.
I mean, it depends. Sometimes I wreck Pudge. Sometimes I get wrecked by Pudge.
Hey,
it doesn't even matter
Druid,
if it's the same matchup.
I lose to Pudge all the time. I should be beating him because I'm 2 units and I can block for myself. But at the same time, that often means that I'm focusing on 2 units at a time and one of them gets hooked. And that's normally my hero.
Yeah. And I mean, Pudge definitely looks for the puny, for sure. Pudge doesn't want to hook in some high physical target. So hooking the bear would be like, oh, thank God.
Although at the same time now, if I do get hooked, I just recall my bear in and then my bear will fear him. And then I'm like, okay,
oh my God.
How good is that?
For all you Lone Druid players, reverse and listen to that one more time because that is sick. I did not think about that.
Between Bane and Pudge, like anytime I ever get Fiend's Grip, I just recall my bear.
Brilliant, dude.
My bear walks next to the fucking.
That's gotta be so frustrating.
I just yell in his ear.
Oh my, dude, that's when you talk shit. Overall, chat. That's when you talk shit.
No, when you do that, an immediate question mark. Like if someone Fiend's Grip you and your bear just breaks you out immediately, and you're just like, what?
Oh, that's never happened to me. But if I'm playing Bane or Pudge, which I'm not a Pudge player, but if I'm ever playing Bane, and that happens to me, your bear just screamed at me? Really? Like I was focused, man. Like that's bullshit.
Yeah, and then and then Pudge. Like as soon as that change came out, I was like, yo, I'm picking Lone Druid against Pudge every game. Dude. Like I was solo
I thought it was so lame when it came out. I was like, oh, that's such a lame ability, and then. I was proven wrong within like one game of seeing it work well.
And I get hooked, and then I just blink my bear right, and my bear fears him, and I just walk away at him.
And you're just like, thanks, Pudge, and his Rot's still on, and he's running away, and he's like, I'm scared. Okay, so next question: best way to deal with Invoker. These were the 2 examples that I just see over and over and over and over and over.
Harass him out. He doesn't have a bottle. All he has is Quas. If he's stuck in Quas, he's not actually doing any damage to you. Harass him before he gets double Forge Spirits or one strong Forge Spirit. I mean, your laning phase isn't going to last till he gets double Forge for the most part.
So harass him before he hits level 8 hard.
Yeah, and get in his face. So let's think of the mid heroes that became popular because they beat Invoker, and it's like Phantom Assassin, Juggernaut, Phantom Assassin and Juggernaut are the two main ones that come to mind. But like Windrunner is pretty good at it, but although she didn't come up because she beats Invoker. Um, it's really Phantom Assassin and Juggernaut
What
are
about
and
Nyx? I always
Phantom
hear
Lancer.
Nyx because mana pool and int
Yeah,
gain and
if you're an offlane Nyx, yeah. But one of the things that I was talking to on our Magic episode, I guess it's not a Dappy episode, but I recorded an episode with this guy cultivator.
I heard there were some audio issues. Did those get worked out or?
I'm still managing with them. I'm gonna
Oh, okay.
go and record with someone earlier to like fill in the gaps that were. But yeah, it
Oh,
was a
okay.
bunch of really weird stuff. But it was a really good episode.
I heard.
And one of the things that we talked about was shit.
Well, it obviously had to do with harassing somebody out. Invoker,
Yeah,
uh,
fuck.
Jug, Nyx Assassin mid.
Oh, Nyx.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things in Dota that you don't want is you don't want to be the person reacting to them for the most part, right? I mean, there's one thing like we're against a Meepo, let's pick Sven and Earthshaker or Ember Spirit mid or something like that, right? Like that's acceptable. But for the most part, like Invoker is good in general, and unless Nyx is a good hero, like at best you're trading your Nyx for their Invoker. And even then, if he ever buys a BKB
Oh,
or
that's a
you
good point.
don't live long enough to get like 16 seconds of mana burns on him, like it doesn't actually matter.
So sometimes a
So
counter isn't worth it if he's not a good pick.
yeah, no, very very much
That's
a
a
counter.
hard thing to get through my thick skull. I'll tell you that much because, yeah, I'm always thinking like, oh god, they've got Invoker. We need a Nyx, and it's like, well, we already have all of our lanes figured out. We need a hard five. I don't care. Nyx will be the hard five. There's an Invoker. That
Yeah,
like
like what if you were a lion, right? Like think of all the shit Nyx does, and then think about what Invoker does when he's sheeped and then fingered, and it's like pretty
yeah
much the same.
yeah okay
Well, the example that I was talking about was like Venomancer, and there are a lot of heroes that you can counter a lot of things. Like you think of Slark, you want lockdown. You think of Storm, like lockdown. But I play Venomancer, I press R and Q, and then it doesn't matter how mobile you are because you're dead. You're just fucking dead. Like you need to leave this fight right now.
okay. That's it's just
Don't counter
it's
things,
just
just
food
kill
for
them.
thought. It's food for thought. That's I'm so glad I wrote this down because now I
But
can
yeah, I
think
mean, you
about
want
it
to
later.
get people's Invoker. The main thing is like mid heroes, you want to be able to get in his face. Juggernaut, when he cold snaps you, press Q, walk forward. PA, spam the daggers, jump in on him. He really isn't that strong. He doesn't have that many spells early game. He has good damage and he gets good spells later. And he does really well at like light trading because his heal is gradual. Whereas most mid heroes, their heal is burst, and Invoker doesn't care about runes and that sort of thing. But you just fucking be a hero that can just shit on his head,
Okay,
and you'll be well off.
that leads to my next question, which is, um, how to control going for a rune. Which and what I mean by that is, okay, there's a full wave of creeps here, and I know, and I'm dealing with an invoker. I know he has no interest in those runes. Do I just leave this whole wave behind and just go get the rune because my bottle's empty, or
I mean, this
like what do I do?
the standard is you clear the wave with whatever AOE spell you have, and then you go get the rune.
So push the wave, go get the rune.
Push the wave, go get the rune is standard. Waves come at kind of strange times. Waves come at very imperfect times to get the rune right as it spawns, because the wave meets at like 45 or something, right?
Yeah,
And it's
it's
very
definitely
difficult.
off time for sure. I know that. I don't know when it meets,
Yeah,
but I
and
know it's never convenient for getting the rune.
like if you clear the wave within 10 seconds, which is not very much time at all, then you only have 5 seconds to walk top and get the rune, like normally or bottom or whatever. Normally top because top is closer. But yeah, like it's honestly not that great. So if you don't have mobility, so like one of the things that originally made good mid heroes when rune control was so important, when you had to go for the rune after it spawned, because it only one rune spawned, there was no bounty runes. You would have heroes like Queen of Pain and Puck were like the standard mids because they had wave clear and mobility. Like you would get Puck would silence and then get all the creeps low, and then orb in one direction, hitting all the creeps, and then pop to the orb when it's at its end, and then get the ruin. Queen of Pain,
Brilliant.
scream, get creeps low, scream, blink, that kind of shit. But
Okay,
now, yeah, so like you wanna
do your
still do
best.
that, do some AOE,
pick up the rune. That's
And then
the safest thing to do.
I feel like it's a completely different gambit if you're dealing with like a hero that also wants the rune, and then it's a lot more difficult of a question.
See which way they're going. If they're going to get to it faster than you, like
yeah, is it worth me leaving? Did they already leave?
Have the supports or the offlaners taken the rune before? Like if not, maybe you're free to like let's say they're going for the rune. Or maybe like you gesture towards the rune, then they gesture towards the rune, and then you stop, and then you just like go back into your wave. And if they run for the rune, you can just get like a full wave of like denies and creep score and shit, and then just go to the other rune at your leisure, like that kind of shit.
And effectively you're pushing the wave at that point while they're wasting their time. So you can take advantage of people doing this, and you can take advantage of it by pushing the wave.
Yeah, and the thing that pushing the wave does is that it puts it under their towers, so they have almost no time at all to get that rune before the entire creep wave is dead. Because the tower's just going to kill it so fast.
I wrote these like so chronologically. I'm proud of myself. So we just talked about one reason to push the lane out. Can we talk about a few others? Like when do I want to push the lane out as a mid? Is it every wave? Do I want to control equilibrium sometimes, or do I just constantly want to be pushing this shit?
If you have stuff to do in the jungle, okay. So like obviously, if you want, it's similar to mid to safe lane and off lane. You want the wave closer to your tower so that you are safer. If you want to do something outside of the lane, then you have no interest in being safer inside the lane because you're not going to be there. And then also if the lane is closer to your tower, or if it's at your tower, it's going to die faster. So the enemy creeps will you'll have less time to be in an area to extract gold and experience and shit from them. So if you think about the situations where that would be disadvantageous, if you're not there. So let's say you want to stack jungle or something. As we said, creep waves meet at about 45. So maybe let's say just you push really, really hard at the 30 whatever second mark. And then the creep wave pushes into their tower. So then they have like a wave that gets there at like 30 or whatever, and then a wave at 40. But that wave is going to like kill your wave, so you're not going to miss any CS because it's just going to die quickly to creeps. And then later it'll maybe meet up in the middle with another creep wave or at your tower or something like that. So that gives you like 30 seconds, 20 seconds to kind of do whatever. So at that time you could walk to the ancients and stack the ancients and walk back to your lane. And just wait for the creep wave to bounce back or something like that. Or you could push out the lane and then go smoke gank or something like that. Or just, like TP to help a lane. So there's plenty of things for you to do if you, or plenty of reasons to push out the wave if you have something else to do. Whether it be stacking jungle camps, which you need to do very timing based and look at the clock and be very conscious of that. And then there's also just like if you need to gank one of your side lanes for some fucking reason, I don't know why you would ever gank a side lane as mid, but I don't know, sometimes you do. Then you would want to push the wave out beforehand.
Okay, so
it all hurts.
A different type of question here, and this is kind of a two-parter. I'll start with this. So using external websites like Dota Picker or countering websites. Dota Fire, whatever.
My classic.
I see they pick this mid, and I don't have the intuition or the game sense to know exactly what to pick against them. Yeah. Do you suggest using these? Do you suggest staying away from these? Is there a happy medium?
I honestly want to say every major guide website or any guide that I've found that isn't specifically like made by someone at a high MMR within that month has been garbage. Like the tortellini builds, don't get me fucking started, dude. Like I'll just cut my goddamn legs off if someone told me I had to play tortellini builds for the rest of my life, like I would just quit Dota because I can't afford to be that stupid.
Yeah, and I don't care to add what I have to say there.
Yeah, I mean I know he was on the show at some point. Like he sucks. He's fucking garbage.
I mean, his builds are. I'll play
garbage,
devil's advocate.
Shit.
I'll say that his builds are not just him. He has a whole team helping him, and he does put in a lot of work. And he has millions of subscriptions. Okay?
Wow, I'm sure it must be really hard to have millions of subscriptions when you're already the person on top through, the fact that you were there first, and then everyone's like, "Oh, I guess I'll click the top one." Like, wow. Democracy.
Okay, let's move on from this as quickly as possible. Countering versus comfort. So I know
if you want to find a good build, go to Dota Buff, go to rankings, order it by games played, find someone who's played recently.
or go to Dota Heroes rankings, find someone who's played recently, find a pro who's played recently. Doesn't matter, just make sure they've played the hero recently.
Should
Click
I?
on that,
What
copy
I
their build.
what I specifically mean is I know the counter to OD. I know exactly what mid I need to pick here. Do I pick that even though I only have 10 games on that hero, or do I go for a hero that I have 50 games on that OD may have an advantage over me?
If it's not an incredible counter, and I would kind of leave that up to you for the most part. Honestly, I can't really guide that. For the most part, playing what you're comfortable on is always better. Then again, having a wider hero pool so that you can counter heroes is good. Like I started playing Ember more because I was playing against a couple Meepos, and I turned out to really be. I've always loved Ember Spirit, but I haven't been historically very successful at it. But lately, my Ember Spirit has been incredible. Last time I played him, I stomped a 6K mid, and I was like, shit, yeah, this hero is awesome. So like, I mean, expand yourself. If it's a hero that you think that it's worth putting time on, it's good. But if it's something like I'm gonna pick Nyx mid because it counters OD, like don't fucking kid yourself. Like you're gonna play like shit. Just play your fucking hero.
Okay, and that's something that I get way too wrapped up in. I don't know if other people do, but I go into these websites where you can punch in the hero and it'll give you like a statistical 7% advantage over this in normal skill bracket.
Yeah, if you just want to look for a generic good hero, the other thing, I mean, I just love Dota buff. You can just go to like the heroes, and then you do oh no, you can't do matchups. I don't know, can you? I don't know. We'll figure that out.
I'm sure you can.
No, you can't. You need Dota buff plus, which is worth it.
Oh, I have Dota Buff Plus, so like this is something that I've never used. I pay. I think it's like what $5.99 a month or something like that. It's not
sure.
it's
you
not
can do
too
matchups
expensive.
outside of plus. You can do matchups outside of plus.
Oh, cool.
Okay, yeah, and then just look at whatever hero has the highest advantage versus it, and then just like order it that way. I'm like, oh hey, I play these heroes. Maybe I'll play one of these.
Okay.
That way, you don't have to just pick like the one hero. It's like, hey, against PL, fucking Sven is good. Turns out I'm good at Sven. Let's go with that.
Okay. I like that. I think it's a happy medium. And if you're like, yeah, like kind of like what you were saying, historically I do terrible as Death Prophet, but right here, Death Prophet is just gonna win. Just because there's this, I don't know, I can't think of a hero that.
Yeah, they have a 0 armor team and also no lockdown.
Yeah, and the mid that I'm going up against, I'm just gonna wreck for sure because.
And they have Morphling, and my silence will counter it. Not that Morphling's a 0 armor hero, but
Yeah, exactly, something along those lines. And Elder Titan with Natural Order decided to come with me, and he maxed it first. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question is: we have had a lot of talk about. In a lot of different episodes about the range creep and how it's super important because it's worth 90 experience, whereas melee creeps are worth 45. I don't know right now how much a catapult is worth, but how should I be viewing
386, I think.
Experience?
No.
Oh, I was like, holy fucking ma.
So
I know
it's not worth the level.
I know by 10 minutes you're going to get 2 catapults. You're going to get 2 catapult opportunities. You're going to get 4 catapult opportunities, really. 2 deny catapults and 2 to kill catapults.
Let's see, experience 88. That's a pretty hefty number.
80?
Still less than a range creep.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
88? That's 88. That's less than the range creep.
It's holy shit.
I
thought for sure it'd be more than the range creep. Wow. Okay.
Oh, dude. It used to be, but then they buffed the range creep to hell.
Jesus Christ. Okay,
but the gold.
But the gold. But
80.
Yeah, it's 66 to 80. So catapults I shouldn't freak out too much about. Or what's your advice with a catapult?
Go for the last hit, man. You need that shit.
And is the deny more important than my last hit? Say I have the opportunity to get the last hit. Last hit. Okay, definitively last hit. I guess we can follow your rule of 5.
Think of it as a range creep, but also it's worth like fucking
almost double.
More.
Yeah, like almost double. Yeah.
Yeah, not quite.
Not quite, but
if 30 gold more.
Yeah, a good. And when you see that 76, you're like, damn, I'm that much closer. It just feels like so much more.
Half a kill.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's close.
Okay.
It's an assist.
My last question before closing the show to you would be, what should be my communication checklist? As a mid, like, is it just, hey, they're doing better than me, hey, they're missing, hey, they've returned, or should I be we'll take Ham for instance, or Hakuna Marana. What's your check? What's Flub's checklist as mid? What do you expect to hear from him being a safe laner on your comms?
What do I expect to hear from
Okay,
Flo?
now what you expect?
Nothing
What
until I
should
ask.
you? That's fucked. What
I'm kidding. I love
what
Flo.
should be the communication checklist?
It's kind of updates on how it's going. Like that's in general good. If it's possible for the mid to be ganked, like on any team I've been on, where I've been trying to direct supports, basically the main questions I'll ask all game are like, can we gank mid? Or like, are you ready for us to gank? Can you set up a gank soon? And are you going to need help soon? Do you need help now? That sort of thing. So from the mid perspective, I feel like what would be most useful, obviously, if the mid laner goes missing, if they're going for either top or bottom rune, because if they're going for bottom rune, and I'm, let's say we're Radiant and their mid is going for bottom rune, chances are they're doing that because the offlaner is securing it for them, which is nice information, or because they're going to kill us, which is even more important information. So which rune they're going to is very important. Because if I'm not expecting anything out of my mid laner and I hear that they go for bottom rune, I'm just going to assume that there's like a 50% chance because they can only go two ways. And obviously that means 50% because that's how probability works that they're going to kill me. So it's important to know what rune they're going to. So announce that. If they haven't come back after getting a rune, that's important. Like if they go for rune and you don't see them, 5 seconds later, because it doesn't take that long to pick up the rune and then walk back into sight. So if you don't see like, yo, they're gone. Like, they're probably gonna kill you. So it's like where they are is most important. And honestly, just like if you're getting dove, I don't even care about your words. Just press Alt in between one of your frantic right clicks away from them, and then it'll ping. Like that's all I need.
Okay. Proud. I want your opinion on air. How do you think I did here with my prep work?
You're beautiful. I love your body and just everything about
the
you.
body's good. The body of the message was extremely
The
good.
body of knowledge, the real body of damage. I feel like we brought to this episode.
So and before we close, I do want to say that this was me in a class that requires me to just have a heartbeat and sit there. And instead of taking notes on something, I can just log on to the PowerPoint slide later and drunkenly stumble through and still get an A plus. This was something that I had 3 hours to think about the things that I see most often and the things that I want definitive answers for when playing mid. So as far as covering mid, for questions to ask you from my perspective in Dota 2, I feel like this pretty much sums up most of the questions that I would have that I don't know the best answers to.
I want to also once again plug Chak's guide, CHAQ apostrophe S because it's possessive. Chak's guide to the mid lane, really good if anyone wants to read something, while they're listening to this. Well, I guess you've already finished, so XD, you fucked up. But if anyone wants to read something, while waiting for Q, like that's a really good place to start. It goes over creep aggro and all these kind of like finer mechanics to Dota that we'll eventually delve into. But some real eye-opening shit that definitely kind of started my ability to really understand like a lot of the deeper mechanics in Dota and stuff that I still don't even, utilize properly today.
I'm tired after this.
Me too, dude. My
Holy
jaw's tired.
shit.
I have fucking linguistics homework.
Oh, man. Well, Proud, thank you for allowing me to pick your mind. I think I went over something like 40 bullet points
Jesus
on
Christ.
this. I definitely omitted some because I realized as I was thinking, I was asking myself the same questions. Like when, for some reason, I wrote down like 3 times, like, at what point do I know I've won? At what point do I know I've lost? Like that was really important to me, apparently, because I wrote that down like 3 times.
Yeah.
But I think that this is a pretty good way to think about things. There was a lot of information here as far as how to handle your actual micro of your hero and how to think about a situation in the mid lane.
One thing we didn't go over that I do want to, you should write this down and make sure we go over it next week, is how to know when to go for a kill. Because I feel like...
Sure. And aggression. And that's why I think when you say, let's do an episode about mid, you think you can cover it in an hour. And holy fuck,
how long is
no.
this, 2 hours?
We're at about an hour and 42. So,
yep.
I mean, and this is just coming from a 2K's perspective who isn't even a mid. I wouldn't consider myself a mid. I've played mid of course, but I don't like only play mid. I'm not a mid type of person.
I'm currently transitioning to mid for my college team. I think I'm not actually, because the guy who says he wants to safe lane plays way more mid than I do. And he plays Meepo a lot, and he plays it mid. Like, don't take my safe lane, you fucking coward. Anyway,
especially if you're a good Meepo.
He's a good Meepo.
Jesus, like that is a skill in and of itself.
Dude, we're gonna have like Meepo mid, Lone Druid safe lane. It's gonna be incredible.
Yeah, dude. Those will be fun games to watch, and please let us all know how we can watch those games, because I'm sure a lot of people would be interested.
Of course, yeah, we're playing Div 1 this year, so you can watch Toffee's cast us.
I feel like that should definitely be put on our Twitch stream. For sure. I think we can do a blackout date for that. You can easily set like a 5-minute delay or a 7-minute delay if you want.
It's gonna be like team sponsored by .p. It'll be .p.
Wow.
We're on a UCSC.
Well, we need it. We'll get you guys some swag then, because that needs to happen if you guys are gonna ride under the .p banner.
Yeah, we just have to not lose, right?
And the cool thing is if I ship it to you, it's only one shipment, right? Because you can then distribute the swag.
Yeah,
so,
no, we'll
nice.
make it to the LAN finals, all that shit. It'll be easy.
Nice. Oh, I remember last year I was like, not even last year, last season I was like, you better make it to the finals.
Last season we got semifinals of Div 2, and we should have won, and we didn't even have our real mid player. I died once, and it was shitty. My fucking off laner.
Don't say it's your fault. Blame it on everybody else.
Like it was everyone else's fault, but like it was my fault for not being that much better than everyone else. You know what I mean?
There you go. There you go.
Legit though, my fucking off lane, I had him play Gyro. He got fucking phase, Aquila, Drum in like fucking 8 minutes, and then just did nothing. And I was like, yo, like I drafted you that to fucking own this game. Like you were just supposed to tempo the fuck out of this, and you're just like, oh, I'm dead. Like, how the fuck did you die? You're Gyro at the height of his power with fucking Drum, Aquila, phase at like 5 minutes. I hate you.
Because I chased and I kept pressing Q.
Yes, come to my lane, you asshole. I'm Medusa.
All right, you guys, if you want to find Defense of the Patients, go to defenseofthepatients.com. Like I said, you will be seeing a cool new website very soon. I know, Proud, you're concerned about this. It will be happening. We actually have a timeline now. Also, if you want to interact with us, please join our Discord. You can do that by going to defenseofthepatients.com, and under the in-house league, there's a link directly to our Discord. We encourage everybody that listens to the show to come in and talk, because the cool thing is all the show hosts are pretty much really talkative in there, with the exception of me. Please give me a break. I got a wife that's pregnant. I got a Proud that's needy.
Very needy.
I got a lot of things going on in my life right now, so it's just really tough. But expect like Ursinity to respond before you're even done typing.
He might even be nice to you if you're lucky.
Yeah, he might even be nice, but he's definitely going to talk about how great he is, and that he'll talk about he's really good though. He's like 4,900, you know. He's
Not
in it
anymore.
to win it. Not anymore, thank God. We don't need to get into that again, but it's really, I don't care if it's Skrunk, I don't care if it's you, I don't care if it's Flub, but you guys better beat him to that mark. I don't care if you drop down to 2K after you hit 5K. Just do it. Like, that is your duty as a .p show host.
I know. I have the whole world on my shoulders, man.
Like, maybe you need to steal his style for a second and get to 5K, dude.
No, that's what I'm doing. I'm playing the game, and I back off a little bit, and then I wait till like I play Friday Night Magic, and then come home feeling real good, and then I lose 6 games in a row.
No more. You need to win like 12, and you can do it. Just find that hero, abuse it, win 12. Let the Icy Frog patch it, and then you got 5K first.
I only got 8 games to win left. So
oh, nice. Okay, I totally believe in you. I'm gonna give you all my shamalama magic to get to 5K.
That's what I needed. Thank you.
Also, find us at twitch.tv/.ptv. On Wednesdays, we have fun in-houses. That's another place where you can play with the show hosts. Play. Toffees has been stopping by a lot. He's actually really fun to play on a team with. I will say that.
It's surprising because he's just so awful in every other way.
No, it's just he's really cool. He's really nice. He's super flexible as far as like when the draft comes. He's not the type of.
He's flexible.
He's flexible, but that's something I found out in Seattle, not over the in-houses.
Right.
he's just like, whatever, like, you know, I play support, I play mid, I'll play carry, just let's figure out what everybody else wants to do first, which I find super courteous in the in-houses is be flexible with everybody else, because some people only play safe lane, some people only play jungle. So
and if you play Scrappy in houses, you know that nobody plays off lane.
Yep.
But everyone plays Tidehunter.
But we all know that you know, Weaver's a great off lane. That's something that we've all. I mean, I've heard you say it multiple times that Weaver is one of the better off lanes out there, if not the best.
Dude, we had a Hakuna Mana practice, and someone drafted like 3 cores. One of them was a Weaver, and then Flip was like, "Well, it might be like I do, and it might be a mid Weaver." And I had to hold my tongue from saying like, "That is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard." And then it was a mid Weaver, and I was like, "God bless you, dude. How did you know?"
Of course, at @p_show, you can find Proud at Proud Dota. I was perusing through your Twitter recently, and I realized you're carrying on all sorts of conversations. Yeah, you're good about that. Like,
yeah, if anyone wants to hear about industrial noise punk, you can hit up my Twitter. I'll tell you about street sects.
Yeah, you've been. I see that pop up in my because I get
street sects is so fucking.
I get
good.
the bling. It's Proud solo Q with capitalized street sex.
It's not.
I know it sounded like sex, but it's sect. Sects,
like a sect,
like a sect of people, or a sect of heroes. Yes, I did pop in and hear it. It's good. It's palatable. I like it. Yeah. I think I like actually what you're doing better than the street sex.
I'm very good,
but
man.
yeah, no, that was better for sure. Definitively better. Oh God, no more. Yeah, and of course, if you want to find out more about Defense of the Patients, once again, I'll plug it again, defenseofthepatients.com. Also, Patreon just saw some cool new changes. Within one day, we got somebody who has requested a replay review. I messaged them asking whom they would like their replay review to take place. So they get to pick their show hosts and who they want to go over.
Do we have coaching up there? I know we hadn't really said any of that in stone.
I don't think there's coaching on Patreon.
Okay.
At Patreon, $10 immortalizes your name on our website, $20 replay review, $50 build your own episode. As in you pick 2 hosts, you tell them what to talk about, they record a show. Also, if you're a patron, you get access to extra episodes that you non-patrons don't get. That is me motivating you to donate anything you can if you are wanting more. Although we do put a lot of content out, so I don't know if you really want more. But if you do, become a patron. And most of all, I'd like to say thank you from the bottom of the street sex. Good luck.
Wait,
and have fun.
I have one thing to say. Also,
that
I'm going to
was
be
such
trying
a good close.
Shut up. I'm going to try to be posting builds. Someone's been they're saying that, they want builds posted because it's hard to remember the stuff on Theorycraft Thursday. So I have a lot of builds on my own Steam Workshop thing, but I want to put them on the website once that's done, but that's going to still be a little while, so I'm probably just going to make something like I can just host it on, like, I don't know, a Tumblr or something. Right now I have theorycraftthursdays.tumblr.com, so maybe look for that on Monday. I may have them all up there, and you can just do that /tagged / the hero name, and you'll find my build for it. So, just look out for that if you're looking for builds.
Perfect. Thank you, Proud.
God bless.
This is Roland for Proud,
saying
look out for his Tumblr. And make sure you follow his infallible builds.
Flub Dota with 2 B's.
And Flub Dota with 2 B's.
Bye.